The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hello, and Mariellen MacKay, welcome aboard, and tell us all about your running for Senate of the New Hampshire Senate.
Thank you, Carl. I'm excited to be running for Senate. It's a new challenge, a new adventure. It's a new experience, and I welcome it, actually. It's a different way to respond to constituents and to help people, because it's what I like to do. So I'm very excited about this.
Well, you've been a representative, and now you're going to be senator for the 6 wards in Nashua.
That's correct. Wards 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay. All around the big circle.
I know. I don't think I understand why it didn't just go 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Well, that's when you go back and forth. Yeah. That's why. Yeah.
But, I guess there's, you want to be chronological, and it's not chronological. Yeah. But I'm sure there's a reason.
Okay, well, the Senate's a big job, and you know that since you've been up there. You get the same pay as a representative, but your hours are longer just because there's only 24 of you. So a lot of the people up there. You think you'll be able to get your legislative ideas through? Actually,
I do. And yes, I do know a lot of the people up there. It's working together with people to come together unitedly and bring forth really good, supportive legislation. That's not any different than what I've done. And it's just a continuation. And as for working hard, when I was up there and I was on a committee, chairing a couple of other committees, I was up there probably 4 or 5 days a week. So if it's going to get any busier, I don't know how, but I enjoyed doing it.
Good.
It's doing the people's work.
Right.
And that's heartening.
And you know all the people in Ward 3 very well, and the rest of them, you're becoming a little bit better. But you've been active in the city, too.
Yes, I chair the Nashua Zoning Board, and I'm vice chair on the Nashua Historic District.
Oh.
And I'm a former commissioner on the Nashua Housing and Redevelopment Authority. And it's just incredible to work with people on that level and to get to understand a lot of different venues and avenues in the city. There's a lot of new experiences out there to be had. And if you pay attention and if you listen, you can learn. And people should be learning something, at least one thing new every day. And this is an extension of my being a part of the New Hampshire Building Code Review Board. I sit on that, and I sit on the Governor's Commission on Disability, and in that, I sit on the Architectural Barriers Committee. So they're pretty well connected, and it helps me get a broader view. I look at the world through the viewfinder of individuals with disabilities, through the elderly, through children. My paid position as the executive director for the New Hampshire Foster and Adoptive Parent Association lets me see the world from a child's eyes and their perspective and what they need and having a heart. And I really believe that we have a heart. And so I want to extend that more for me and into a broader venue and enter the Senate. I think it would be so educational and such an amazing opportunity.
And very much needed.
Oh, thank you.
The Senate had its problems this last year, the last session, and they didn't get much through. And I guess even one of their bills was the Christmas tree bill, which actually went up and was vetoed.
Yeah, there's quite a few, that happened quite a few times. And that's unfortunate that the divide was as big as it was. I don't think I ever expected to see something as vast as I saw this past legislative session, to see the animosity. That's sad. We don't expect that. When you sit out here and you watch, you don't expect acrimony. You expect congeniality and respect. And that isn't what we saw. And that's too bad.
Yeah, it's I don't know how it came up, but it really was very prevalent in the session.
Absolutely, it was different.
Even though I wasn't up there, I could tell from just what I heard.
And you know what? We had a different vantage point, you and I, because we've been there. Been there, done that. We do have that T-shirt. And yet we sat and we looked, and I don't know about you, but it was sad to see some of that. I expected much more. I expected, people reaching across the aisle, not to take the other guy out, but to welcome them in and to just work connectedly and supportively. And that did not happen. And that is a huge disappointment for me as a citizen, but it's just doing such a disservice.
Well, I can see that in your mind, that you see the need and you want to fill it. And I think you're a good person to do that.
Well, thank you.
And is your committee going well? How is your ability to get around in this virus?
It's different.
Reception.
It's very different. We face a much different world right now because we don't have the same freedoms almost, the ability to just come and go as we've always done. And everyone throughout the world is facing that. And you're facing this pandemic that says, here's all these restrictions and you need to work within them. I think probably where and when you can see people is wonderful. I'm assuming phone is going to be a much bigger, impact, and the mail. I mean, you're going to have to reach people. This venue, you need to reach out and touch people however and wherever you can, but you also need to be respectful. There's people that don't want you to come up to their door, and they don't want to run this risk that may not be a risk to them, but you don't know who's in their family. You don't know if there's a compromised person, whether it be an adult or a child. And so you have to be respectful of that. And that's kind of what I'm all about. Kindness and respect. They're huge, but they're values that I don't know where they went.
Yeah, well, and one of the favorite things people would have rallies and showing off or asking questions, mini town hall or something like that. It's not going to be done this year. And
no,
you really get to know people. But I know you're very well known in your ward, but going around getting the other 5 wards is going to be quite a task.
It is a task. And so then you look to, technology. You look to Zoom, you look to GoToMeeting, you look to WebEx, whoever that venue is that you use that technology. And you try and set things up that way, but you don't know how many you're going to reach or who you're going to reach. So now, technology is so important. Social media, that's where you really do reach out and touch people, and you advertise and you bring forward and you connect with other people who are like-minded and running, and you come together. I think it would be easier if more than one person tried to do that, virtual meeting. There should be a couple, and it should happen within each ward.
Right.
I really believe that. And it should happen a couple times so that people have an opportunity, maybe in the daytime, maybe at night, just to reach out and ask their questions in real time. Because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And as a trained New Hampshire mediator, my position is to always get to yes. It may not be your yes, and it may not be my yes, but it's a yes. And if you can bring people together and unite them for a common cause and a common good, you will do okay. And then you'll start to do good and you'll do better. But you just want to bring people together. Sit down, speak. Don't cast aspersions. There shouldn't be he said, she said. It should just be, oh, look, the table's brown. What are we going to do about the brown table? Because we'd like it to be maybe blue or green. And you just think about how you get that table there without insulting the other people who also have a valid point and an opinion.
Well, it sounds like your experience is a good way of getting there. So
thank you.
I hope you have fun when you get up there.
Oh, you can always have fun. I mean, it really is an awe-inspiring, amazing place to be.
It's a feeling.
And the first time you walk in and you look around those hallowed halls and you sit in that chair and you know you're going to take that oath. I mean, it makes you proud to be from the state, proud to be a New Hampshirean, proud to be an American. And when you stand up and you salute the flag and your hand goes across your heart, there's power there. There's respect, and it's what it's all about. And it feels good. It just reminds you of how small you are within this big, greater good. And you try and do your best.
There's a lot of history up there.
Oh, is there ever? Is there ever?
I mean, people have to really take times to go up there. I don't know if many people know how easy it is to go and listen to the committee meetings. You don't have to talk. You don't have to say anything. Or listen to there's an area for people to sit to listen to the legislation vote and the talk there. So it's some place that I think all the people should go during one session sometime.
I agree with you. I think if everybody had the opportunity to go sit up in that gallery and watch how people vote and how people behave and what happens and the respect that's there and sometimes the respect that's not there, it would enlighten many, many people. I mean, we have children, the school children. I love when the kids come. That's always fun. For them, it's a civics lesson. And that's something that should happen so that you don't lose sight of who you really are as a person and where you fit in within your social group, within your classroom, within your family, within your city, within your state, within your country. It's important. Those values are important. And I love seeing the kids come. I commend the teachers in the schools that do that, seriously.
And the Secretary of State even has a booklet for them.
And isn't that great? He's amazing, though. Bill Gardner has to be. He's a treasure. New Hampshire needs to cherish that man.
Well, he's a history all by himself.
He is.
But it's very nice. I mean, we're really trying to get to the young people, and I hope the schools follow up on that, too, because it is an excellent book he hands out about what happens up there.
Well, you learn what it's like to be a citizen, and you learn about voting, and you learn about legislation, and then you see it in real time, in actuality, not just in your mind or on a page in a book. You're actually watching it in real time happen before your eyes, and nothing is a better teacher than that.
Well, do you have anything that in particular that you want to offer for legislation or an area that you want to work with?
I think probably the area that I've always been drawn to, where my passion lies, is in children's issues and in issues that concern individuals with disabilities and the elderly. Yes, I'd love to see small businesses do a lot more, or have a lot more advantage, because that's what makes our economy go. And in New Hampshire, we have built our foundations on small business. We have,
Right.
and we're proud of it, and as we should be. The strong economy, the smaller government. We don't need to be so involved. How do we find ways to reduce government influence and bring about more citizen responsibility and influence? You really need to see what people need and then go from there. Not take away people's, right to walk in an office and say, I'd like to file a right to know request because I want to see what's going on. That should always happen. You shouldn't ever step on freedoms like that.
Right.
I think people should have that. I also believe that if there's something to be done around school choice, look at this pandemic and what it's taught us. We are having our kids educated now remotely, and that's tough. You have parents who may or may not be working. You have children who may or may not find it easier to learn this way. You have mom and dad trying to be teacher, trying to be breadwinner, trying to be mom and dad, trying to be caregiver. And it's extremely tough. So if you broaden your horizons, if you expand those and you let those types of programs happen, then you are meeting a greater need. I saw on TV the other night where there were charter schools that have this remote capacity, and they're doing these classrooms that are geared for this and set up so that they're smaller, but they come in, they can either access remotely. Some part of it can be, physically hands-on right there. And I thought, what a great idea. Why can't you expand more? Why do we stop that ability? As a child, my parents had the choice, public school, parochial school. I got a lot of my foundational education in the parochial schools. That was my parents' choice. Nobody said, John and Mary, you can't do that. They did it because that's what they wanted. They had 4 daughters, and they wanted their daughters to be educated the way they wanted them educated.
Yeah.
That was their right. And so why can't that happen today? We have Montessori schools, we have preschools, we have public schools, we have parochial schools, we have charter schools. Why do we argue with them? We should embrace them all.
Right.
Because as I've learned in the field of disabilities, everything can be modified and accommodated. And as long as you can address what the child needs to incorporate really secure, strong learning, does it really matter if it's at this school or that school? There's teachers in all schools. All teachers are wonderful. They're doing yeoman's work. Again, now I have a brother that's a professor. It is what it is. But don't deny somebody something because either you don't understand it or you're afraid of it.
Right.
You shouldn't be afraid of it. And I know change is scary, but don't be afraid of it.
And who better than the parents to choose it? Not the people that are running the school, especially the administrators who really don't get close to the child.
I have worked in school systems. I have worked so that I understand the administrative end and the hands-on working with the child. There's nobody in those buildings that stands up and sets out to say, well, I'm going to diminish your capacity this way. That doesn't happen. That's not a reality. There's everybody going in there, giving 110, 120%. And every one of them in their own way wouldn't be there if They didn't believe the best interest of the child was what was the most important. And that's what they do. And they work hard to do that. So I just think you should expand on that. Don't deny it. Don't close it up.
Right.
Expand it. We have a bunch of wonderful schools here. Let's support them. Let's not support them. Look at where we had those, our Commissioner of Education tried to get those millions of dollars to help
$40
charter
million
schools. Why not?
Yeah.
Think about that now with the pandemic. How much that could have helped. How much broader that would have made the brush that helped the parents.
And we had so many of these charter schools that are major examples of how to do something great.
Right here in Nashua.
Right?
Right here in Nashua. That science and technology, we have, you know, isn't that the top one?
Right.
Right here. I mean,
it's a national notice.
We should take a bow.
Right.
It's wonderful. They should take a bow. You know, God bless them. This is wonderful for us and for the children.
And the second one that's more oriented to something else, more civic type of, I can't remember the name of it, but it's relatively new, but it's very working very well because they focus like a town does, you know, and they kids have a bank account and all sorts of things.
And they need to learn that real living,
Right.
real life living is what's going to help people. I mean, when you become an adult, when you leave the cocoon of a school, you need to understand how to balance a checkbook, how to pay your bills, how to make a budget, how to do an interview, how to get a job that you're going to feel good about and your employer is going to feel good about having you there. It's very important. Everything balanced. It's a domino effect. And like we say to the business owners, these choices should be yours.
Yes.
You should make the decisions and the determinations. We should also stand up those parents and back them up who really also deserve to make those choices. I don't agree with limiting choice. I just don't. I don't think it's fair.
Well, I think that's one of the things we like here in New Hampshire. Choice sort of comes up almost in anything you do.
Live free or die, honey.
Right. Well, how about your campaign? Are you? Do you need some help on that? Do you want to let people know how to?
Absolutely. As far as the campaign is concerned, if you would like to put one of my signs in your yard, please let me know. Mariellen MacKay, numeral 4, NH Senate. That's on Facebook. That's my website. I'm at 9 Webster Street in Nashua. My phone number, 603-577-8932. Call me, write me, email me, and that's at mariellen.mckay@gmail.com. Just let me know, and contributions will always be accepted.
Wow.
I mean, it's expensive to do this, and so that's something. But any help someone could give, even if they call and say, you know, how about this? Can we give you an idea on that?
Right.
Absolutely, please call me, because that's what we're here for. You want to hear people, Carl, but you need to listen to.
Right. And you a good person to do that. We found that out in a number of things that we've been involved in. But what do you? You've had a sine wave. You've had.
Yes.
Have you had any literature sent out yet?
Yes. They've been bringing my lit now, which I have. And that's happening. So it's all just, you know, I guess like anything else, you kind of crawl before you walk. And after the primary, I expect to see a lot of people running.
Right.
And that's what's going to happen. But that's what always happens.
And you need people in the other wards.
Absolutely. In every ward.
Yeah.
Every candidate that's running for state rep, in my wards, and all all of Nashua. I embrace what they're doing. I would love to support them, walk with them as much as they would love, I hope, to have me support them and come and be as supportive to me. There has to be a way for us all to come together to do, whether it be virtual, whether it be, in Greeley Park in the wide open spaces or at the band shell, somewhere where we can have a meeting of the minds and have everybody just speak and say, this is what I'd like. This is what I disagree with. This is what I agree with. Because you can't get to agreement until you find out what the disagreement is.
Right. Okay, so we want to have something that's open. Are you planning anything yet?
Not yet, but I have a meeting, on the 10th to help and define a lot of this. And so we'll move forward, and I'm really excited to be working with Jack Tully and Gary Lambert, Don LeBrun, Claire Roulard, and then Elliot Galt and Joe Sweeney. So we will just come together and do a wonderful thing and planning, and I'm going to learn.
Good.
I learn from people who are experts at what they do.
Right. No, that's great. Well, Mariellen, good luck. I hope you do get that. We need some fresh blood in that Senate district so that some of these things can be accomplished. I think we're going to do something this year.
I hope we're going to do something this year. I really want to do something this year, and I really want to support Nashua, all of its citizens, all of its children, and especially those whose abilities are different, and the elderly. Everyone needs a voice. Just like I helped get that stop sign moved so that people didn't have to walk a mile to the DHHS building. I want to help people not have to walk a mile to get what they need.
Okay, good. Good luck. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.